DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
All right, we are back for the second part of our show. If you are watching this on YouTube later, it is its own separate thing, and we did a show before this. We're trying to do this where we have two shows on a given night, and then this one will go up later, and you guys will get to see it. If you're watching it as the continuation, well, we'll call this a bonus.
Okay.
Or something.
Before we get into this, I just want to say, those of you who are angry with my hair, look, it's all gone. I got it all cut off. I'm going to be angry at my hair anymore. Those of you who are angry about my hair.
Yeah, you were getting kind of shaggy. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to come out and say it.
It was fun. I was having fun.
Oh, it wasn't fun. It was shaggy. You were looking like...
It was fun. I was enjoying it, but nobody else was. It made people angry. So I just gave up. Gotta go. It's hot out. I was working on that card. It's all on my face. I felt like a real hot rodder, though. I had hair all over my face and old gas all over me and grease and everything else.
You were looking mean and tough and...
I had my hat on because it was sunny out. I really looked like a proper hot rodder there for a while. Nice. Nobody saw that though, unless you saw the video I posted. I posted one video of me in the car revving it up. So.
I didn't see that one. I watched. I saw the one where you put the plate or the picture where you put the plates on. And
you didn't see the videos?
Well, my goodness gracious, I haven't sat around and had time to do anything. Oh, it's like I've been. Going for, we had the event, and then the weekends I really try to stay away from anything except for what I have to do, and then
I'll send you links to the videos when we're done with the broadcast.
Yeah, then I'll.
Part sounds good.
Nice, excellent. Let's see, I think we're still broadcasting. It looks good. Okay, so in this segment we're going to talk about. We'll hit some old venue stories, but I wanted to. What kind of brought this is that Saturday or Friday night I was doing a 50th wedding anniversary in this venue that. I've had staff play there over the years, and I'm saying staff because from like 1991, 92, somewhere in that ballpark, 91, 92, until about 2000, probably 7 or 8, somewhere in that ballpark, I had anywhere from 2010. We had one staff member all the way up to at one time we had 16 shows going out on a Saturday night. So we've had a lot of staff, and they have played at this venue over the years. I myself have never played there. So I had no idea to a point of what to expect beyond that. I know we have been there, and that's about it. And it was a 50th wedding anniversary, so it wasn't something like I had to know all the entrance points and know where I was going to bring the wedding party and all those things. It was just basically, John, can you come in and play? We just want to trust
the music, yeah.
Yeah, we want music. We want something that's going to be applicable for people who are, of that age. We don't our kids and on up, because it's going to be a smaller crowd, and we just basically want someone who's not going to embarrass us or play anything inappropriate. I can do that. That's because of the referral. That's where I end up getting it. So I get to this place. It's in the middle of town. It's this pole shed that they have. This 80 by probably 250 foot size building. The front half of it is a nice bar and a modern bar and a modern dining area. And it's like, wow, this is really cool. I walked in there and it's like, oh, I kind of like what they did. And the outside looks like a pole shed. They put a little bit of a patio or a porch on it, like an old. But nothing on the outside really said much. And that first area was beautiful. It's like, well, cool that you're in the back room tonight. That's where the party is. So I go back into this back room, and it's like walking through. You open the doors, and it was like walking into an like late 80s, early 90s venue that it really kind of looked like something out of the Blues Brothers movies, the old bars back in that day. And right. I'm looking at the room.
Chicken wire on the stage.
The chicken wire, yep. You'll see that in the pictures. But all this was all these different things, and I'm looking at this, and it's like, I go up there, and there's a DJ booth, and it's like, this is really, and there's speakers. They flew speakers, and there were lights in different spots, and I was like, wow, this must really be cool. Do DJs go? And he goes, no, it's like we haven't had a DJ in that booth in over 10 years. Because it was probably about 15 years ago when it was used on a regular basis. It's just to a point been sitting. And it's like, wow. And the only one who goes in there are the girls who go in there and they dust everything and clean it up. I mean, it looked like somebody just used it yesterday type of thing.
Wow.
And it is. And you look around and the gear that's hanging up, well, it's not the greatest quality. Everything looked clean and everything looked, the room was, but it was just this really weird experience. So I wanted to kind of share that with you guys tonight and kind of share the venue that, if I can do this, there we go. The venue that time forgot here. I'm going to just trim this a little bit here so we can kind of zoom in just a little bit more.
Yeah, I see they got the speakers flowing over there.
Yep. So the spot we're looking at right now, I'm going to just get this so I can move things around. Okay. So the spot we're looking at, this was kind of partially of the stage where I'm at. Now this is a 4-foot high stage, and I mentioned earlier that the pole with the Evolve 50 having the shorter pole is advantageous in this. This stage was 5 steps high, which basically 5 steps, and they were about 9-inch steps. So you're talking almost a 4-foot high stage that I was on. Which
wow.
The walkway was over on the right of this little railing. And for those of you, a lot of you know that I had some eye issues and such and had that. Well, one of the lingering problems with that is that my eyes don't adjust to dark situations very quickly or very well. So behind the little lattice on the right, I was coming in with the speakers. So you're outside daylight, and then you come in, and then it's the darker room, and then having to try to walk up those steps. I felt like I was this old klutzy person who was going to break something, fall down and break a hip or something. It was like, oh my God, this was crazy. But anyway, so what you're looking at for that speaker right there, I'm going to give you another shot of the speaker. MTX, yes. And take a look. I'm going to see if I can zoom in on that chain just a little bit more. I think Ben Stowe would be excited about that rigging. Because I mean that's high-end rigging you're seeing right there.
Looks like it would spin around pretty easily.
Well, and then here's the cool thing.
I see that. They got it anchored so don't spin.
How do we keep the speaker from moving?
We'll tie it to the light pole.
With a little, what is it, a dog? And I don't even think that's big enough for a dog leash. That's like a fluorescent light chain that you would use.
I've bought chain like that for things before, but I can't remember what the heck those things were.
It wasn't for a real purpose. But yeah, they had
keep it from swinging.
MTX speakers around the room. Let's pop out.
Awesome, man. Around
the stage, they had this kind of a light, a lattice up around the stage and such, and they had the NES lights all the way around. Of course, they're typical par cans with I think it was a 48 bulb in there. The size of it, I believe, is what that would be, 48 or 46.
Because you want to warm the place up.
Oh, it would have warmed it up, yeah. But they had those around the stage there, and it's like, gosh, I haven't seen flood cans like that in a while.
Yeah, this was built in the early 90s.
Yeah, that's when they really
early
did.
90s to me.
So this is another shot. I was getting closer to the DJ booth there, and CDs still they're laying there. It's like, okay, whoever cleans this, could they not just pick them up and put them no, the guy's like, it has not been turned on in 10 years.
It's like Elvis's bedroom at Graceland.
Yeah,
he left his socks there, so we're going to leave them there. We'll clean around them.
It's creepy. And this is another shot I wanted to show the other side of the stage. So yeah, you had the railing that kind of, it ended on one side, and then it came across on the other side. So this would have been the side where the guitar player, must have been where the drunken bass player would be. So the railing, it could fall against the rail, and it wouldn't fall off that 4-foot stage.
Do you know what this reminds me of? And you're going to love this, John. You know what this whole room reminds me of?
What's that?
The place where they shot the Huey Lewis video, Heart and Soul.
Oh, yeah.
That's what this room reminds me of. Like early 80s, the colors, the little balcony thing, the size of the room. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of where they shot like all of those early 80s live, like small club concert videos.
Yeah, this would have definitely been right there. Whoever designed this was probably going off that. So over in this corner behind the speaker, it was interesting. In this corner was their shots. This is where they had a shots booth back in the day. Because I had people coming up that were 40 and 50 and 60, and they're talking when we were kids. We came in here, 40 and 50-year-olds. that they had a shots booth over there, a shot booth, and this is the upper level. Of course, they had a bar down here, but over this way, continuing on to
Footloose too.
the right. Oh yeah, for sure. This is all in that era. There was a beer.
See jazz dancers. I'm sorry.
Beer
I can see it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of jazz hands flying around.
But one thing I wanted to this particular dance floor and it wasn't a big room, but the dance floor was so short that if I would have had a case of getting the right gear for the event, my ETX, which are more of a narrow dispersion but a longer throw, this would have been a tough room for the ETX because it would have been sending. A person really needed to have that dispersion. And then back up in here in this area, that was the beer sign, and that corner is where they had the shot girls down in the lower left, and then on the upper area there they had the beer area.
It's kind of like a low budget First Avenue thing.
Oh, for sure.
Jungle Love, oh.
Let's try to see what else. Okay, so there was my.
I can smell it in there. I can able smell the place.
The variation of the chicken wire, because what had happened is that what you're seeing behind that kind of wood paneling, that's the doors to the restrooms, and people would come out and they would be drunk and they would be ticked and they would come out and they would reach over and grab and assault the DJ. So they ended up putting these things up there to keep people from doing that, keep people from reaching over and trying to grab.
They look like old windows that have been repurposed.
Yeah, it's just something, but it was their version. And he said, we've had people come out of the bathroom and they've taken bottles and thrown it up against the back there. They're not exactly sure which part, but yeah, it was a situation that they wanted.
I kind of like it.
Oh, it was.
I mean, I hate everything in it, like sound and lighting wise, but I kind of like this.
I would have loved to have played here. This would have been fabulous. You get this thing full of people. Oh my God, it would have been fun back at that time. This was their big strobe light. Now this is such a high end venue that you're looking at the lattice and I can't think of the fabric and such. That was the backdrop behind me, and you can see that they went out of their way to make sure that strobe stayed there, because they cut the lattice so that it would stay. The strobe is there. The strobe is, as you can see, there's wires hanging from it. I don't know if I took a picture of the back of the strobe, but there's the wire hanging down there, and on the back of that's a little knob so you could adjust it, and the back of it has been rewired. It's like, oh my goodness gracious. Yeah,
the song that's going through my head right now is the Mary Jane Girls in My House. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But yeah, there's our CDs, the CD thing. And,
you didn't look and see any of the titles, or did you?
No, I believe there was a Marky Mark I saw over here.
Sweet.
I think, and it was. I think there was a Mix-a-Lot in there somewhere.
They bought those the day they built the place. Probably.
So the mixer, that for those of you who were a PV mixer user, is the 9072. Which was one of the early DJ mixers, one of the early 4-channel DJ mixers out there that had that crossfade ability. Had the two microphone jacks. What you're seeing on the right corner there, the upper right corner, is a light jack. But yeah, it had two mic jacks. Oh my gosh, that was the mixer that we used probably for the first 8 to 10 years of our DJ. We had, I believe, at one time 10 of those.
Jesus.
And they were, like everything else PV, they weren't the greatest sounding, but they were bulletproof. I only had one of those go down, and all the time.
Survive a drop out of an airplane.
Exactly. If there was somebody who was going to come in and shoot the place up, you just held up your PV mixer and your PV amp, and you could take fire.
It was like that back in the day, though. I mean, you didn't care if it meant more that it actually would work, and actually was transportable without being destroyed. Then it sounded fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't break it, so it's good.
This was probably one of the newest pieces of gear there, the Denon Dual, and I didn't get close enough, and I should have taken a better picture when I went into the booth, but that they actually had
4,000. I mean, that goes way back.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what else I've got here. Thought I had a couple more pictures of.
That's just awesome, man.
Yeah, I had.
That is just.
I thought I had a couple more pictures that.
I liked what you showed.
Yeah, there were some pretty cool things, and that in this day and age, you just don't see, venues would be so quick to we're going to dump all that and change all of that, and here we've got that neat experience. And they
I like it. I had gone in there and done something a little different, but I like the space is fun.
Oh yeah, that would have been just such a fun space to do some things with. And
yeah, space is tons of fun.
I wanted to, a couple of things. I wonder how come there were some speakers there, the other subwoofers, because there's okay, I gotta see. There's a bunch of pictures that didn't make it. I must not have clicked on to send those. Yeah, I've got to get these up there to continue to tell, because I went in the DJ booth, and that's the pictures we're missing here in the DJ booth, because there is, let's see, I think all of those are up. So I wanted to.
I wish I had a picture of my DJ booth back in the day, just when I was back there DJing, because it didn't look like how anybody else's booth looked like. Because it was organized chaos. I had stacks of things lined up. People used to throw a fit because I didn't put things away. It's like, no, I have them set up for this for a reason. And aside from that, there was always like the absolute biggest ashtray I could get my hand on. Just full of cigarette butts, usually one burning in it. If it wasn't hanging out of my mouth. And that's how it was back in the day. Yeah,
the booth we had made is... we had a small stage that we were about a foot off the ground, and it had this kind of a softening above it. So you had about maybe a 6.5 foot exposed or open area. And what we ended up doing is we sat dual 18 subs. We laid those down. We had some big JBL, 15 3-way cabinets that were on top of that. And then we had to build this 2x4 wall. So it was about, about 12 feet wide, 5 feet high. And it was made out of 2x4s and plywood. The idea behind that basically is that someone could hit that sucker head on, full bore, coming off the dance floor, which happened generally about once or twice a month. They'd whack into that sucker, and that wall would stand, and it wouldn't tip back. It would just boom. It may slide back a little bit, but how those days just are. It's so different now. You wouldn't. You may have a DJ up in a crow's nest or something, but you see a lot of the festival DJs and the way they have, it's my DJ booth or facade, and then it's open to the public. And gosh, in 1994, 95, 96, you wouldn't have thought of that, because you'd have gotten killed. Somebody would have came flying through your system any number of times.
Yeah. The good old days. Grandpa, tell us about the good old days.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so
they were good old days too. I tell you what, man, they're boring today. I think they're boring. I had a lot more fun back then than I do now, and it's not because I was younger. It's because you can get away with more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a few more.
Do it a lot more.
The last of the photos didn't. They hadn't uploaded, so they're uploading. They're uploading right now. So I want to see if I can get to them, because there's a couple of photos that I'd like to share. Yeah, it's here, because there was specifically the subwoofers they had. I think I sent them to Jimmy. He could see them, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" Because I don't even know what brand. I was hoping that you'd be able to say, "Oh yeah, I know what brand that is. That is da 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 da." We've got another old venue that was a barn, and it's referred to as the barn. So if anyone who's out there and has
we've talked about the barn before.
Yeah, we've talked about the barn, and it's a unique 2-level event. A lot of similarities between that and this particular venue. And that's not quite stuck in time as much as this one was, but it's very, very similar in some ways as this was. And people just absolutely love that rustic, weird, old feel that they can go and they can do things, and they can just go and kick back and be that for the night. They can be that, that 80s, 90s drunken person. And and it's like, oh yeah, it's a different age in which we live. That those things are just kind of frowned upon now,
unfortunately.
So, I'm not having any luck finding those. So I'll have to do that some other time. But yeah, so that was kind of an interesting event. And as I was talking to the guy as we left, there was a surprise in the DJ booth.
Ooh, that does sound good.
I don't know if we'll be able to see this.
Oh, yeah.
That was in the back of the booth there, and that absolutely shocked me as I was looking. It's like, you've got to be kidding. You've got those
Did
back.
you make him an offer?
Oh, I asked him. It's like, do you have any idea how much those are worth? And he's like, no, I have
No, hey, I take these off your hands.
And it's like, yeah, they're not worth anything. No, he had no interest. He didn't know what they were. He didn't know what they were worth. He just knew they were turntables. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in selling anything. I just like it. It's just my old thing back there.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like, okay, whatever. But I don't know if you'll be able to see this. This is what they used to power everything.
Oh yeah.
An old Radio Shack amp was involved with the process.
Nice.
And then they had
realistic.
Yeah, there we go. This is a better shot of it with the 250 watt stereo PA right there. Yeah. Imagine pushing 250 watts to those MTX bad boys. Oh, I want to show those speakers. Where are you? Right there. This is kind of a rough shot of the speakers. They were, I believe, Jimmy thinks they're a 15, and he probably is right on that, but they're a big scoop cabinet. And my thought is the speakers like this were more of a long throw with that big scoop because that whole bottom was open.
Oh, yeah, I remember those things.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, wouldn't that be more of a long throw cabinet? Because the whole bottom is wide open there, so you're getting that bass to bounce down and around. And maybe Howie's used would have used some of that when he was doing some live music applications. But I thought those things were for a long throw. And you looked at that room wasn't a long throw room. If you're looking for you aren't going to get even a full wavelength of that low bass frequency before it hits that back wall and slapping right back at you. Granted, there's people and there's things in the way.
Whenever, any venue like a bar or a small budget place is trying to set up a sound system, they don't think about what's going to work in the space. They think about what they can afford.
Yeah.
Or whatever anybody happens to sell us. Hey, we found a good deal on this juice stuff. We'll just put it in the bar, whether it works or not for the venue. They don't care. Still like that today. They don't care if it's right for the venue or not. It's affordable or available. They just go with it.
Yeah, which is so in this day and age where they can go and we had Ben and a crew come down and do some things in the church, a couple of churches actually that I have worked with down here, and they can come in and they measure the room and do a few things and they enter all this into their little computer system and they can come through and they can give you what will give you the optimal sound and the optimal settings for the entire room, and they can do this for venues and churches, what have you. All that ability in this day and age. And then you see something like that, and what we know from Ben talking about phasing and cancellation and different things, and it's like, how could that have been anything but loud? Wouldn't have sounded good. It just would have been loud.
Loud. Yeah. Well, it usually was just kind of loud.
Loud, and the girls went and had a drink, and then they got crazy on the dance floor, and that's probably all they were after.
Or not so loud, but very distorted.
Or very, Well, when you have 250 watts of realistic power from your Radio Shack amplifier.
Look out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, somebody gonna get hurt.
That is some hot
well,
stuff.
It looks like it was a fun trip down memory lane. Anyway.
It was a cool night, not only because of seeing the gear and getting some chuckles out of that, but it was a neat night because of it being a 50th anniversary. That's similar to the age of my parents. So a lot of the music that I grew up on was there, and their kids were a hair bit younger than me, but they experienced a lot of the music. So doing a lot of the 70s things and some of the touch of the 80s, but going really from about 65 to about 75, maybe 80 was just a really good sweet spot. And it was kind of neat because the grandfather, one of the big things, what he wanted is he had many granddaughters. I think there were probably 8 or 10 granddaughters. And he wanted to have a good DJ is he wanted someone who would play music so that he could have the time to dance individually with each granddaughter at some point in time during the dance. And that was just really cool to watch him out there dancing and the girls out there. And, they would doing a two-step with the girls, and they were all just excited to spend some time with grandpa. And then the parents are out there taking pictures and, just really documenting these memories that they're creating.
Yeah.
And then And then there would be a fast dance because girls would want to hear something. They wanted to do the Cupid Shuffle. Well, Grandpa came out and he did the Cupid Shuffle with them and had some fun with that. And there were a couple of other modern songs that we did. And he was out there. And again, these are all memories. And I guess really it just kind of, we've talked about this numerous times, that our role as a DJ at a lot of these events is just setting things up so that the guests and the family can create memories that they're going to have with them for the rest of their lives with their loved ones. And when I was done, that's what I did. And when I was done, they were just ecstatically thrilled with how everything turned out and how it played. And it wasn't because of microphone skills. It wasn't because of the greatest, biggest sound system in the world or anything, lighting or anything. I had no lighting. It was reading the crowd, playing to the crowd, playing for the crowd to help set up those moments that they're going to take with them for the rest of their lives.
It's all about.
Yeah.
It's what it's all about.
Yeah, it really is. So
it really is. You did well.
So yeah, it was fun. So, well, cool. Geez, it's 10 o'clock. I think it's time for us to wrap up.
Very 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it is. So thank you guys for being with us with our second spot tonight. And we will be coming to you live next week, or we'll be coming to you from DJ Expo live
or almost live.
But we'll call it live or almost live. So we'll see you then tomorrow night. Wednesday night, MJ is going to be going live tomorrow night with a show. And then Thursday, the guys are doing their show. And then it's off to DJ Expo. Have a good evening. Bye, everyone.